Hello, this is Jilly Bling, and I'm trying something a little bit different today. Brother Scan and Cut is a machine I use for cutting out images, and I love it. And it doesn't replace Stampin' Up! Dies, but I'll show you how to work with this. And I have a feeling it might be a little bit of a long video, but if you have one of these machines or thinking about getting one, you'll love it. Okay, so here's a machine, and I keep it right here on my a little bit messy desk uploading a video. Yeah. And behind here, I keep tape and the tools that came with it, and have it plugged in. So for right now, I'm just going to turn it around. There's probably a better way to do this, but there, open that up. Okay, and the plates, or the what do they call those? The sheet. Oh boy, this is messy. I probably should have planned this a little bit better. This is just where I keep them, the sticky mats to put your images on. And I keep them in the bag they came in. And I have 2 of them. And I should replace them, get new ones, but if I use Scotch tape, I don't have to get new ones. And the new ones seem to be too sticky, or let me see if I could put this into this thing. Oh, I don't know if it's going to work. Okay, for now it will work. So here they are. And I have 2 of them. And one of them was because at first I cut one of them, or actually a friend cut one and she insisted on getting me a new one. I'm like, I don't need a new one, because I just put tape on the back of it where all the cuts went through, and it works just fine because I use tape. Okay, so these are ready for cutting. And vanilla, white, and let me find a piece of designer paper. Like if you wanted to cut a piece of designer paper. I don't know that these are going to work. So, for example, if you have a piece of designer paper that has cute images on it and you want to cut them, let me see what I have. How about some of these bees? And to tell you the truth, I haven't had much success in cutting them, but at least I can show you what I had a hard time with and what works. Okay, so let's stamp in black. Memento. And I'm purposely going to do, just because I have this stamp set out, I'm going to do, oh, I don't even know if you could see. I have it turned around. I'm just going to assume you can see. Okay, this image, and I choose this image because see how it has a solid outline? This one does. This one, it goes way, see how it opens up right here? Let me see what else I can find. That one is good. That one's good. Here we go. This is a good bad example. Okay, so I'm going to stamp, on my sheet, I'll put 3 different pieces: vanilla, white, and designer paper. I'm trying to stamp and cut out colored paper is quite the challenge. I haven't figured it out, so I'm not even going to try that. And I know I can stick these 3 sheets easily onto the mat. Okay, so vanilla. Oh, I should have used, oh, it worked out. Okay. White. Yeah, I was afraid of that. And keep in mind, there's all kinds of tutorials out there, and I'm just going to show you what I know from the Brothers Scan and Cut, and that's enough for me to love it and want to buy it over and over. Every time I have a piece of paper and it comes off, all the images are cut out, I just decide I'm so happy that I made that purchase. And if you stamp in different colors, it's not as easy as black and white. Okay, so there's that. Okay, and now other images. And I chose this image just because it has areas on the outline. See this outline, how it breaks up right there? That creates a problem. These flowers, they have little breaks in them, which is just part of the artwork, but when it comes to cutting things, it's a little hazardous. Hazardous to success. So which one should I choose? How about, because I kind of know how to fix it, so I'll just do the leaf and these little flowers. Leaf right there, and little flowers. Those are solid flowers, these right here. Ooh, the set is well loved. Gotta love that. Okay, so there's that one and this one. Okay, so leaf. Leaf. And cute flowers. And more cute flowers. Okay, so those are our samples, what we plan on cutting out today. Boy, I tend to get dirty. Okay, so to stick them onto the pad, and then I'll go over and I'll make it a little dizzy because I'm going to take my phone and go over to the machine. Maybe I could bring the machine over here. We're done with that. Okay, so when you get your pad, when you have a brand new cutting, what do they call this? Mat, cutting mat. You put them on here and you push it down and it sticks. The only thing is when it's brand new, it sticks a little bit too much and you go to lift your paper up and half the paper stays on the mat. After you've had your mat for too long, I can actually rub it and it's just all the little fibers of paper that are just jammed up into the sticky, and this is no longer sticky at all. But it still works. And what makes the mat work is their little frame on here. Your Brothers Scan and Cut reads the frame. Okay, so I know I'm not going to cut it. I'm just going to get rid of that. Okay, and I'm sure that Brothers Scan and Cut says you just need a new mat. You shouldn't be doing that tape thing, but it works for me, so I'm sticking with it. Okay, where's my tape? Should we go over there? Well, I can't have two hands. So this is my designated Brothers Scan and Cut tape, and it goes back behind the machine, and that's just where it lives. And I go through a lot of tape. But that's what it takes to get results. Ooh, I could be smart. Get half of that, half of this. And another thing is using tape, which probably isn't so good, If I were to get tape on the side of this image that I'm going to color with the blends, you'll be coloring along and all of a sudden the ink won't go where you want, where you're coloring, because the tape is in the way. And you could easily pull that up. Yeah, I go through tape. And the thing is, I don't know that this is going to be successful. Okay, so in my world, I'm ready to do Brother Scan and Cut. Set that up here. Okay, here we go. Hold on, don't get dizzy. Okay, so far so good. See how the uploading is going. Getting there, 32%. Okay, Brother Scan and Cut. Here we are. So to turn it on, and see over here, you could do all kinds of Wi-Fi stuff. This thing has all kinds of power, and I don't know how to use it, but it works for my world, and that I love. So right here is the blade. What do I have it set at? I have it set at 3.5, and it's a little blade that comes out of there. So put it back in. And I've had to change the blades once. They're a little bit expensive, but it makes it so nice. When you're not getting a good cut is when you know it's time to change the blade. Okay, to turn it on, push right here. It's going on. In the meantime, because I'm impatient, I'm going to feed my mat. To feed the mat, take it, just set it in place against the guides, and the guide is right here and right here. Get it in place. Then this first button feeds it. It's going to give me warnings. Don't get your clothes or your hair or anything. And this is, like I said, I'm not all that fancy. This is what I do every time. Oh, first I have to feed it. Oh. Okay, if it goes bad, that's because I'm not using two hands. So I'm going to say, okay, I know I didn't feed you good. Okay, let go. So hold on. Okay, I'm holding on to it. I'm going to feed, I'm going to push that top button right there again. Okay, so now it's good. This happens this screen appears every time. So I hit scan. Direct cut. Select a device. I wanted to go right to this thing because that goes to scan and cut. I don't know what that is. Right here. And then I can change it from color, either color or black and white. And I usually just leave it on color. If things aren't working, sometimes I go and I change it to black and white, and magically things work just fine. I'm going to hit start, and start is going to make it scan it. Okay, so it scanned it, it's thinking about it. Now, at this point, my little tools, which usually live right here, I have two tools that it came with. Some people have lots of them. And because I have papers sitting around, I always lose them. So if you can, do your best to say, tools always go back in their home. Then you know where to find them. And I say that now and you're probably like, whatever. Until you lose one, and then you're like, I need to get in that habit. So right away, if you can, tools go right there. I'm going to take the pointer tool. It's just a pencil. And should I try to do this? Let me turn it, let me hold on. Okay, so now I'm going to, it says frame the image. And what I'm doing is I'm telling the machine, you don't have to look at the rest of that mat. Just look at this area. I want you to focus only on this area. Okay, that's good. So now I'm going to say okay. So now it's looking at that area only. Okay, so that's what it sees. See all those black lines? Some of them not exactly what I want, some what I do want. If I zoom in on this, you're going to say, well, that's kind of a mess. So hold on. So to zoom in, I click the plus sign. Then I want to see lower on the page, or I'll zoom in more. Now I'm using these arrows. And if you're like, well, what is that? We can remove that. But look how it's going to cut. I'm hoping you'll start focusing. How it's going to cut around most of it, but not all of it. And what's really going on here? I don't know. Why is it cutting over there? I don't know. Look how it's going to cut the bees though. Oh, that's good. What is all this down here? That's probably crud on my mat. But at least it cuts the bee. Now this one, it's cutting good. See how good that's cutting it all? This page here, which is the white. Oh, you know what that is? That is the white versus vanilla. White, lovely, just lovely. Vanilla, somehow it's a challenge. Okay, so see, come on camera, focus. This right here, this leaf, see how it's going, there we go. See how Brother Scan and Cut is going into all those little pieces? And then even see on here, that's kind of a problem, but I'm going to show you how to fix it. Okay, so I'm going to say I'm okay with this, and I'm going to tell it, don't bother cutting this, don't bother cutting that. Yes, you could cut that heart, that heart. Sure, you could cut all those bees, that sounds good. This up here is kind of a mess, and I'm not quite sure how to fix it. I usually don't use my Brother Scan and Cut on vanilla for that reason, but I'll tell it, sure, if you'll cut out half of it, you just go for it. Okay, so after you've looked it all over, and I know I have a little bit of work to do, which I'll show you, you hit X, and I'm going to say, this right here is interesting, ignore object size. I'm going to click on that, and what that's going to do is these little pieces that when I look on here, it might be like the edge over here, it might be just the shadow right here that it's picking up. I'm going to say all these little pieces you see, ignore object, and I'll put this up to maybe 3/4 of an inch. And if you're like, wait a minute, that heart is less than 3/4 of an inch, maybe I'll do it to 1/2 inch. You'll just have to play around with it. When you make the measurements to the right size, all of a sudden the screen will kind of flicker and it will decide not to pick those up. But if all this doesn't work out, or if you don't want to do that, there's another more manual way, which we're going to get into next. I'll say okay. Then here, say okay. Then this one right here I use all the time. That's to put a border around something. So everything that is going to cut, for instance, this heart right here, I'm going to have it have just a little bit of a border. And a little bit of a border, just one click up, is when I hand cut something naturally, this is where about what I cut the border at. Okay, say okay. And I know at first this is a little bit overwhelming, but it after you work with it a few times, it gets easier. Okay, so now when I'm looking at this screen, and this screen is saying, do you want to cut? That's the only thing that I would do here. I don't know what draw means. Those little pieces down here, it's not identifying it's going to cut them. And that's because we did ignore object size, whatever. Okay, so say that there's some little bits of dust on there or little dots that you don't know why they're there. You could click this button right here. And let's zoom in on it. And let's see if we're going to get rid of anything. Oh, we got rid of all the little hearts. It was going to cut all the little hearts and now it's not. Actually, this is looking pretty good, but I know that this one was kind of a mess. Not too bad. But say I didn't want it to cut this, or maybe there was a few little stragglers down there. To get rid of those, pretend like this was a straggler. I would say this piece right here, trash it. Okay to delete the selected data. Yeah. And I'm just going to have it cut the rest. Then say okay. And I'm going to tell it to cut. And it's going to take a minute. It's going to think about, okay, what do you have me cutting? You want to see some trees down while it's thinking? It's thinking. Look in the backyard. That's Tony's fence. And that tree is nothing. That tree's leaning a little bit. That's why I do videos. Ink pads. Designer paper. Okay, perfect timing. Okay, so see how this is highlighted and cut, and it says it's going to take 2 minutes, and that's what it's going to cut. So now I'm going to hit start, and it's cutting. So if ever you hear your machine and it's jamming up on the paper and it's going, hit that start stop button, and you can adjust it, put more tape on it, get it stuck down, however you like, and then you could say, okay, now I'm ready. You could go back again. We did it. Okay, finish cutting. So you say, okay. And now you're saying, well, give me back my mat. Hit this one. It's saying, okay, I'm going to release the mat. Okay, and then to clear this out, I always go back to home. Okay, to delete patterns. And I think that's if you were cutting something like a whole bunch of circles, you're like, no, you don't need to delete them. Just put another paper on there, send it right back in through there. But I never do any of that. Okay to delete patterns. Okay, so now you're back at home. And you have some things that are cut. This, kind of weird, but I can make do with that. If I wanted, I could use the B. These two cut out perfectly. This cut out strange, but the vanilla, it always cuts out strange. I don't know, I just don't have, oh, that cut out the center. And these two, I told it, don't you worry about cutting that out. What are you really going to do with all of those little partial B's? I don't know. Maybe on the side of your card? So you can see I'm using my tool. Now from here, I would just get rid and throw all that away and then put it up. So I hope that answered some questions about the Brother Scan and Cut. I definitely would say it's worth it. If you had a whole sheet of things and you cut them out, it's like heaven. It's wonderful. Okay, that's it for now. I hope you have a great day. Bye.